I'm Amelia. If you've enjoyed watching our magic theatre shows, maybe you'd like to put on a show of your own. Well, to do that, first you'll want a theatre, like this one. I'm going to show you a step-by-step way of making it. You might need a little bit of help from a grown-up, but it's really very simple. So, what will we need? Cardboard, a ruler, a pencil, some scissors, some string, some sticky tape, blue or white tack, double-sided tape, a cloth for your curtain. And then you'll need some paint, pens and stickers so you can decorate your arch. So, let's get making our theatre.
First, draw a ruler's width twice at each end of the card. There we go. You can just about see my pencil marks. And then, in between the two middle lines, we're going to draw our arch shape. Then we need to cut it out. We're just going to cut the middle section out. And down this line, we're going to fold it backwards. And the same on this side. Now we need to colour it in. I'm using paint, but you could use pens or crayons or whatever you like. I'm going to paint the whole thing.
Here's our arch in our magic theatre shows. We've decorated it with Harlequin and Columbine, two famous characters from the very first kind of pantomime. And you'll see we've added birds and flowers and used lots of lovely rich colours.
Now, on a new piece of card, we need to draw some of our shapes. I want a nice shell shape. And then I'll also paint that to match the arch. It doesn't matter if you go over the lines because we're going to cut it out. Now wait for that to dry and then cut it out. Okay, let's change our background colour so this really shows up well for you. Great. Now we can attach our shapes to the arch with some double-sided tape, but you could use glue. You could also use stickers for the shapes instead. When you're all done, go around the layers in a black pen to make sure they stand out. It's time to make our curtains. I've got two pieces of cloth that I've cut a little bit longer than the theatre. And then we cut some string the width of the theatre. And then we'll take our double-sided tape and we'll put a long piece along the top of our fabric above the string. Now we need to fold the fabric over the string, and what we have to make sure is that we don't get any of the sticky tape on the string as we want it to be able to move. Make sure you keep hold of the ends. Turn over the theatre and use some masking tape to stick the ends of the string in place on the theatre. Make sure it's nice and tight. Now we can stand the theatre up. I use a piece of card for the base and I tape it at the back. If it's a little bit wobbly, you can press some white tack behind to help it stand up.
So there we are, a theatre with a curtain. Let's see if it works. Ta-da! In my next video, I'm going to show you how to make your scenery. Hi, so last time we made our theatre. Here it is. So the next step to putting on our show is to make our scenery. we use two types of scenery. There's a backdrop, which stays at the back of the theatre for the whole show. And there's some pieces of freestanding scenery, which can be put anywhere on the stage. There are lots of really imaginative ways in which your scenery can really add to your show and sprinkle a bit of magic on your story. For instance, your scenery can move. You can part your trees like this to give the impression of a deep, dark forest. Or you can use them to reveal something dramatically like this. You can make waves move like this to make the sea. You can make a real virtue of the fact that your theatre is handmade and open up a new scene like this. Or you can reveal the inside of a house like a doll's house. So we're going to make the backdrop for the scene in Snow White, inside the house of the 7 dwarfs. Then we're going to make the 7 dwarfs table that goes in the room. So here's what we need. Cardboard, scissors, a pencil, colours, a black pen, tape and white tack. So first the backdrop. Here's the scene in our show.
Take your card and draw 1 ruler's width along 3 of the sides. Next, you draw and colour your backdrop design. When it's dry, we need to cut a little slit along the ruled line. And that means that we can fold the edges back and stand it up. We also need to cut out the windows. This is a bit trickier, so ask an adult for help. We bend the backdrop a little bit and make a snip in the windows so you can fit your scissors in and cut out the rest. When the windows are all cut out, you can go around everything in your black pen. Then we're going to stand it up by folding the flaps back and sticking them to the bottom tab with a little piece of tape.
So I've put some white tack on the bottom of our backdrop and I'm just going to stick it to the base of the theatre. Now onto our freestanding scenery. These are the pieces of scenery that give us the foreground to our setting. So let's make our table.
We need 7 chairs for the 7 dwarfs. I'm also going to draw a pot of flowers on the table to give it a nice homely feel. Now you can colour it. I'm using paint, but you could use pens or crayons. When it's dry, cut it out and go around it with the black pen. To make sure the table can stand up, we cut 2 triangles of card and fold them in half so they stand up by themselves. Then attach them to the back of the table with a little bit of tape.
Scenery comes in all shapes and sizes. So we have bushes and furniture and a swing maybe, or a fireplace. All of this scenery shows us the specific location for each part of our story. And with the backdrop, the foreground scenery tricks our eyes and makes us think there's more space in our theatre than there is. Clever. So now you've got your backdrop and your scenery. Next time, we're going to be making the props we need for our story. Hello! In this video, we're going to think about props. Now, as well as your scenery, your story is going to need some other things, smaller objects, and these are called props. Now let's have a look at the scene we've been building up from our Snow White story. We've got our theatre, our backdrop, and our main piece of scenery, the table. But we're going to want some other things to tell our story. And in order to make them, we'll need cardboard, a pencil, colours, a black pen, white tack, masking tape, scissors, and some thin sticks. Now in Snow White, the wicked queen gives Snow White an apple. Here's our tiny apple. You can draw it, colour it in and cut it out. Don't forget to go round it in black.
So the apple can move, I'm going to attach it to a thin stick with a little piece of white tack.
It's good to make some props to add detail to your set. So I'm going to make some curtains for the inside of the Seven Dwarfs house.
I'm going to draw our curtains. And then paint them in. You can paint them whatever colour you like, and of course you could use something that isn't paint to colour them too. When they're dry, cut them out. Then go around them with your black pen.
So I've stuck some white tack on the back of my curtains and I'm going to stick them on the backdrop. There we are. Next time we're going to be talking about characters. I'm going to show you how to make them and how to move them. Hello! So now we've got our theatre and our scenery and the props we need to tell our story. So now it's time to make our characters. The characters are like little paper puppets and we attach them to sticks like this with some white tack so that we can move them. Here's how we move our puppets around our set. You can't see the sticks because we always have some scenery in the foreground. Sometimes we use thread to move our puppets. You can hardly see it and it means that we can make them fly or leap. So when you start to design your characters, you have to think about how they look. In Snow White, the evil queen has to be beautiful but secretly evil. Our evil queen has a sneaky smile and some spiky clothes. I've chosen green for her because it's a kind of magical colour and she has a gold crown to show that she's rich. So why don't we make Snow White? Here's what we need. Cardboard, a pencil, Colours, black pen, scissors, sticks, masking tape, a paperclip, thread. So the first thing we do is draw our character.
I'm using pencil on white card. If anything goes wrong, I can rub it out. Next, we colour with paint or pens if you prefer. Snow White's lips are meant to be red as rubies, and her skin is white as snow. Then I outline her in black pen to help her stand out. Next is a tricky bit. You might need a grown-up to help you. We bend our paperclip so we've got one end free and use it to punch a hole in the top of Snow White's arm. Then I stick the paperclip onto the back of her body with some tape. Then we slip her arm on over the bent end of the paperclip. Squash it back into place, and you can see it swings against her body. I've drawn two different faces for Snow White, one sad and one happy. I add a stick to the bottom with some white tack. Then I'm going to tie a piece of thread around her arm so we can move it separately. Like this.
So now you can make your theatre and your scenery and your props and your characters. Ooh. There are lots of other things you can learn, but these 4 things will enable you to tell your story. You might want to tell a traditional story, or you might want to make up your own with your own characters. Whatever you choose to do, get creative and have fun. Bye!